This is the final episode of Nothing But Net with Muqbil,
Sonny Young,
and Cheick Theiro. What's going on, my man? How are you guys doing? Both.
Doing good, man. Sonny, Nothing But Net.
I know the big man from Bamako, just back from Kigali, rubbing elbows with some big men, Cheick. I mean, you look like you were taller than most of the guys in the photos, but tell us, just name, what were some of the highlights for you in terms of the African basketball personalities you met?
It was a lot of height, Sonny. It was a lot of tall people. You know, obviously I'm tall too, but it's a lot of tall people than me. 7'6", 7'4", 7'3". It was a tremendous moment in Kigali, Rwanda, to see basketball really grow, you know, as far as NBA wanted to do, and I think they want to compete against FIBA sports, soccer, but it was really good, Sonny.
Well, I was watching the games from here in Washington, and I would say, Muqbil and Cheick, the level of competition in Season 3 was a step up from Season 1 and Season 2. Not as many turnovers, skill level was high. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I definitely would agree. I think every single season the BAL has shown that it continues to get better and better. The quality of the players, the quality of the coaching, the atmosphere, the fan perspective, the engagement, so many different things. I feel like, speaking just from the perspective of being able to watch it, but having Cheick being there. Cheick, talk to us what the arena environment was like in Kigali.
Man, Muqbil, it was a tremendous moment. It was celebrity, NBA stars, you know, these ball elevate players. Sonny, was a lot of event around this event in Kigali that really exposed more than just basketball, that I really seen some very interesting things going on there. It was the best time for basketball season 3 because everybody see it grow. You just mentioned the talents-wise. We see that it grow talent-wise, competitiveness-wise, and economy-wise, because they started with COVID, you know, it was in the bubble, then the out, you know, started from the bubble, and then now we hear it now in Kigali. It was really good. There was sold out gym. It was very hard to get ticket. Apparently, this ticket is bought ahead of time, and so it was really crunch. When you come to the gym late, you're gonna get in a lot of traffic, man. You might miss whatever you got going on in there. You know what I mean?
Cheick, how much credit do you give Rwanda's president Paul Kagame for the atmosphere in Kigali?
Oh man, Sonny, He's love sports. He got a basketball court. I think if you go to his house, he got a basketball court. He like to take you in there, show you some hoops. And so that's the president they have. And he come in, like we saw that Rwanda was out the first round, you know, Saturday they was out, but he still came to the final.
Right.
And he came with his staff, and he come to sit on the fans and on the bleachers. Yeah. He didn't even come to the front. So sports is like, in all his minister of sports, everybody around him loves sport. No, this guy really loves sports, and he's trying to use sport as a soft power, like we all know, to touch Africa and give visibility to Rwanda. I think he's doing a tremendous job. Put Rwanda on the map. Rwanda will never be left out from this Basketball Africa League, even going forward.
Quick follow-up, Cheick. Heard some rumblings that maybe South Africa could host a window of the Basketball Africa League in 2024. Do you see that as a possibility?
Yeah, I think that's a very big possibility. We get to see Brent. You know, Brent is the guy at Operation Court for the Basketball Africa League. People mentioned some stuff about the court have been really the best in Kigali to take care. Egypt to be taken care of. And also, there's been talk around about how, you know, operation-wise is a little difficult. I don't know, but, you know, it's so many stuff around it. I'm not saying Egypt is not the right place to do it, but they're looking elsewhere to see if they can do something. But South Africa will be the best for sure, because the NBA Africa headquarters is in South Africa, we all know. And who knows, maybe Burkina Faso or somewhere else, or Egypt, or me personally, I want them to go to Ethiopia.
Yeah.
So they can have Ethiopians getting interested in basketball as well, and by having big teams going to their town and having a team.
What about Somalia, Muqbil? I know Giants of Africa built a basketball court in Mogadishu.
I think it would be exciting, as Cheick mentioned, for it to honestly be anywhere, right? Whether it's South Africa, Ethiopia, Somalia, whatever makes the most sense for, you know, the game to continually expand. I think the key to the Basketball Africa League should be that it shouldn't necessarily be set countries that host it every year. Maybe have this kind of a tournament. You know how similar to like a March Madness or something, or even NBA All-Star Weekend is, where you continually have different countries hosting it so that the entire continent can get excited about it. As we've seen, Stade Malien did great. Have it in Mali. You know, like the game is there.
Somewhere,
the game is there. So I think maybe having the partnership between the NBA and other organizations like Giants of Africa to set up shop. I know Cameroon in Yaoundé recently just had a from Joakim Noah's family's foundation just did a basketball court over there as well. So having something along those lines would be interesting, I think. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, let's take a look at some of the top players during this Kigali phase of the Basketball Africa League. I want to start, actually, I don't think he was in Kigali, but Kaman Malawak, the young man from South Sudan. I know you had a chance to talk with Luol Deng, Cheick, when you were in Kigali. What are his future prospects, this young man, Malawak?
Yeah, Malawak, this young man is 7 feet, that can run on the court. He's only 16, right? Or I don't know how old, but he's really young.
16.
So they started. We saw AS Douanes start him a few times in a game, and in a big game, and he slashed the rim, and everybody thought he was gonna really do some crazy stuff on there. It was exciting to see.
Yeah.
You can see that this is some talent, hijack talent for Africa. But Luol Deng, we all know he's been the head coach for the South Sudanese national team that's going to the World Cup, and he's really put his feet back in Africa on the ground and trying to help with development with the kids, and putting them together. Not only South Sudanese, but he's got building several gyms in Africa, and as you mentioned, and he's going to continue. His goal is to build every place he touch in Africa in a basketball floor in there, which is very good. But South Sudan, we see they've been really good on this league all around. We have they get together, and we saw Majok, we saw Nuni with other Sudanese and Malek that's there, and they're trying to mentor this kid, Sonny, because this is kids, players and coaches, players who've been there, done it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're trying to give them. How you call it?
Give the baton
back to the kids to take it over by doing something that they haven't had the chance to do it.
Right.
That's the goal from this mentorship. Luol Deng have it, and many other players that have the same vision to do.
Right.
We expect to see them, because a lot of people think, if you Joel Embiid, you out of the NBA playoff, you ought to be on this place and just show up.
100%.
Don't wait until you retire and show up, because some people say that don't retire and then go. Right. Go while it's happening right now, and that will give a lot of more visibility to these things, and that's very important.
That would have been a great move.
Yeah,
I mean, if Embiid had gone to Kigali, I think it would have been
Siakam,
a great promotional move.
Yeah, Siakam, they've been out on the playoff.
Right.
This is stuff that it will be very nice to have them come.
Yeah.
Join the veteran players like Luol Deng, Joakim Noah, and we see many players in Mahimi from Benin that was in Washington. We saw all these players trying to give back. In Mahimi, told me he's gonna looking to bring Benin team in there.
That's amazing.
And that will be something good, because he got a capability to do it, and financial ability to put some team together personally on his own. It will be good to have some.
I like that point that you brought up, having either Joel or Pascal or players that are connected to the continent to go after they lose, because we saw, Kevin Durant, after he was out of the playoffs, he went to FIBA World Championships to go there and support and watch the game. So it's not as if they can't do it. The question is, do they want to do it, or do they feel as though, there's a disconnect between them being active players and then going back home, as if that's like the retirement plan. It shouldn't be. I think, like you mentioned, if something like that happens and they go there while they're still active, imagine if the MVP of the NBA is sitting there watching the game, what type of exposure this would have helped assist.
A lot of attention
would
be toward this league.
Yeah.
But overall, a lot of players, Sonny, they might they might get an opportunity to go to the D League. We saw one that was signed during to go to I think it's the Sacramento King team.
Okay.
The press release came recently. I can't think of the name right now.
Yeah.
He was signed. Ball have the press release about it. He's going to Sacramento. He's a
That's
kid
amazing.
from Ball.
Yeah.
And don't be surprised if we see more players from this. I heard a rumor about Janja Kwasi.
Okay.
Janja from AS Douanes.
Yeah, Boise.
That might join NBA D League. Is many more players can join.
Yeah.
That's the goal of exposing this kid to show their talent. We saw him is had a tremendous
He's a
competition.
baller. Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the players on the list, you know, also.
Cool.
Muqbil, I heard you use the phrase MVP.
Yep.
Let's give a shout out for, actually, Cheick mentioned him too. Nuthin
Right.
Omot. He was named MVP of the 2023 Basketball Africa League season. South Sudanese forward for Ahly. Deserving of the MVP trophy.
Yeah, I personally think he was. You know, finals MVP is always one of those things where, you know, you have to make it to the final dance to get that MVP.
Yeah.
So I feel like, yeah, he definitely had a great tournament. He played excellent for Al Ahly. A lot of coaches were trying to, you know, stop him and neutralize him,
Yeah.
and other players were trying to step up as well. But putting up 22 in the finals, was able to win for them. I think, though, there should also be maybe another award for a player that, you know, like the player of the tournament that maybe doesn't happen to win it all. I think Yabarow from Stade Malien, all-team offense,
Excellent
all-team
player.
defense.
Absolutely.
The only player, if I'm not mistaken, that was all first-team ball, both offense and defense. The kid is an amazing talent. Talk to us a little about Yabarow from Stade Malien.
Yeah, I will give a credit to Nuni. Nuni is my understanding of basketball. Muqbil and Sonny. He's a big guard that's very well skilled around this league, left and right. He's very crafty as a big man. That I give it to him a lot. You know, he put this Al Ahly team on his back and to get them where they are today. We had interviewed him after the show. And also, Ali Jara is a player that's very athletic. We've seen that he's been watching. After our conversation with him, you know, on Bambara, he's been watching this league 2 years now, and he came in with a mindset of dominating, and he run really. He told me most of his workout is running and jumping.
Wow.
You know, running and jumping and jump shots.
Right.
Running and jumping and jump shots. So you can
trifecta.
Yeah, as a big man, I mean, he's 6'10". He's probably a little bit same height as me or a little taller.
Right.
I've been around him and Chinyelu, they're both right there. He's really tough. The kids don't give up. The kid have high motor, jump higher than most players getting around, and he doesn't take no play off in the game. You know, he run fast tremendously on the court.
Yeah.
You know, he outrun all the big men around him and get a dunk every time.
Right.
He recorded 7 double-double, 7 game in the ball league, and it's very
That's huge.
admirable to see a player like that, you know.
This is Nothing But Net on the Voice of America. I'm Sonny Young, along with
Muqbil, Yabarow, and Cheick
Theiro.
And Cheick, you know, you were talking about conversations you had in Kigali. I know you had a chance to talk with Amadou Gallo Fall, the Basketball Africa League president. Do you want to set up that interview?
Yeah, when he had a chance to talk with him on about where ball is going from here and about women involvement in sports, let's take a listen to what he had to say about that.
So we want to continue to build on a long-standing history. You know, as you mentioned, all those great players, the great names that have paved the way in terms of African players in the NBA. Hakeem Olajuwon, Dikembe Mutombo, Muqbil, those pioneers. We've seen, you know, the next generation, the next wave was Luol Deng, and Ibaka, you know, Joakim Noah, and the likes. And then, you know, with the launch of Basketball Without Borders in 2003, a camp that is a flagship in terms of basketball development and community engagement for the NBA and FIBA. We've seen over a dozen players get drafted out of this camp, among them Joel Embiid, who is this year's MVP for the NBA, Pascal Siakam, who was both of those young men from Cameroon, Joel in 2011 and Pascal in 2012, you know, the Gorgui Dieng. It's a long list.
I know we touched this in our press conference, and it's going to be about women, and that is extremely important for our continent women, and we see that they're doing really good and Afro at a world stage level. And what vision in investing in young women basketball players across Africa? Can there be any Women Basketball Africa League?
Yeah, so again, we want to stay consistent in all our commitment to grow the game of basketball across gender. You know, then this is what we've done through the camps that we talked about, whether it was Basketball Without Borders or all the regional camps we organize, is for both boys and girls. So, the growth of the game, increasing the number of participants and growing a fan base cannot happen without being very involved also in making sure that girls have equal access to playing the sport. So we started in terms of this professional league, the Basketball Africa League, with the men's league, but ultimately, I have no doubt that there will be a day where we'll have a league for the women too.
This was Amadou Galofal from Kigali. We had a chance to speak with him and about how they're planning to add women to this league. Sonny, it might be a long process, but that's one of the images they want to have, women leagues.
Yeah, I think the BAL and Amadou Galofal, they've been very proactive in promoting, gender equity and women's initiatives. I think they had the Ball for Her, Muqbil.
Yeah. Ball for Her is an amazing initiative, as we heard Amadou Fall talking about it, saying that ideally it would be the next thing in line for the continent. We also have, Masai Ujiri's Giants of Africa that is doing a lot of initiatives for young women as well, making sure that the game is going to the masses and not only the boys, but the girls are also getting excited about the game too. So it's an exciting time to be in Africa and Africa sports in general. But going to the games, I'm excited to hear about, we saw the finals. What about that third place game, Petro de Luanda versus Stade Malien? Petro was expected and predicted to have won the tournament, and they lost. The only two losses they had in the tournament was back-to-back losses
In the playoff.
in the playoffs. Cheick, talk to us about what do you feel like went wrong with Petro in their first initial loss?
We had a chance to really look into everything in there from the beginning, the body language, and everybody agreed that Petro was not Petro in the playoff. And
Maybe overconfident?
yeah, some people say locker room problem because this is not a player's problem. Petro was the only team that can take the 5 out and put the 5 in. Is the same result on the court.
Right.
When it comes to game and talent, Majok, Suleiman Jabati, both Pedro, number 45 with the long hair.
Yeah.
Big man that can hit threes. Like,
Right.
it was really loaded.
Right.
Very loaded to a point that everybody thought they were going to win the whole thing, especially the Solo and Majok.
Oh, of course.
So it was Sonny, everybody agreed that it was a problem that was not fixed before they was out there on the court. And nobody can know. It's internal, but
Right.
they had a really good coach, Jose. Everybody know him. He's been
Neto.
with them for so long. And every year they participate on this, and they've been... Angola has been knowing. I had a chance to talk to one of the Angolan players, that 5-time Afro basketball champions.
Yeah.
Victor.
Maurice?
Yeah, Victor.
Okay.
Yeah, Victor mentioned that they have everything but ball. So they have every championship in Africa, but ball. They just want one. They just want one, but they can get it,
Right,
but
right.
I think it's internal, but they haven't been their best so far on that playoff.
Well,
this year.
what about the age aspect, Cheick? Do you think they're maybe just getting a little old in terms of their roster?
I think the experience they have, and playing at the compete at a higher level. We saw them compete with ABC Fighter until the last minute. Everybody thought they was going to lose that game, and ABC Fighter, Coach Liz Mills. It was a game of coaches, and everybody knew it was a game of coaches making decision at late minute
Right.
that gave another team a victory. But I don't think it's age, because they compete against, they beat everybody, include Ahly. And the Nile Conference.
Right.
So I don't think it's age problem, because they did 5-0 Nile Conference.
Right.
It was a problem they had, Sonny, that everybody's until now trying to figure out what
Yeah.
exactly happened.
Yeah.
But it's internal again. I think it was not, the moral was not all-time high, because we saw players body languages when they get subbed out, and they didn't like it, or
Right.
something going on. But he also made a lot of subs in the game that
Yeah.
you need to stay consistent with your players, because no players are coming in the game, they're going to face different things. Players that stick together with their teams at that moment did very better than, them. For instance, the Stade Malien team, they stick with their starters with this team.
Right.
And they catch back up in the third quarter and just turned around, and
the
that
lead.
was it. And took the lead and win. We all know the Stade Malien team, when they come off a loss, whenever they come off a loss, is over. You know, whenever they're coming for loss, whatever team come facing them, better believe the Stade Malien coming to beat you by 20. You know, that was really fun to watch, you know.
Muqbil, this marks the third year in a row a North African club has lifted the trophy. The debut season, it was Zamalek from Egypt, and then Monastir won from Tunisia. And this year, it was Ahly winning the trophy in Kigali. What do you credit for this North African success?
Honestly, I feel like the game has just been around more and accepted more from the North African countries for a while. If you look at, teams like, countries like Egypt, right, with Zamalek and Al Ahly, they have such a rich history of the game. Some of these club teams are 100 years old,
Resources.
Right. Resources and just the entire buy-in from the fan base to the people there. If your go-to game is football on the continent, infrastructure probably isn't where it's supposed to be, hence why BAL is doing such a tremendous job in building that infrastructure for certain countries at the moment. But I think mainly that's what it is. For me, when I look at it, it's teams that have already had that history with the game, knowing what it is that they need to do, and just having the backing, whether it's financial or whether it's the buy-in from the entire public and the fans. You see when the Nile conference, when Al Ahly's playing, people are so invested. You're looking at fans' faces. They're looking at it like, man, this is do or die. If we lose, they're gonna cry. Like that game against Petro.
They had a lot of fans in there too.
People were losing it. People were going crazy. The buzzer beater happened, and they were like, man, it seemed like the Petro players had to get to the locker room fast.
Absolutely.
I did hear Al Ahly's coach after they won the title talk about how lucky he is to be part of a big sporting club like Al Ahly. He's from Spain, and I think that has to contribute to their success. You mentioned it, Muqbil, this long history that the team has, but also they have a strong league.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the BAL is starting to focus its efforts on strengthening leagues from some of these maybe smaller African countries.
Yeah, absolutely. What I want to add to that is like this Al Ahly team, resources-wise, very important. They might have more resources and stick together, because we see a lot of teams start these things late, right? When it was late, they started, and they was not able to put a team together. Maybe the Egyptian and Northern African countries have a better preparation in terms of resources and getting the team together earlier so they understand each other, because we've seen that majority of them play together for a long time. And they got capability to add players like Nuthin. Look at they got Suleiman Jabate, US Monastery, and Majok. This is a player with a lot of experiences, that can win game in a situation like they was in this thing. It's going to be more competitive as you go. Every year, you never know who's going to win, the thing.
And I think in this type of, the way the structure is, the playoff structure is set up now, it's win or go home, that they probably do want an experienced player that knows what it takes to get to that next game.
Crawford said that we had a chance to try it with Crawford. He says like NCAA game, man.
That's a great way to look at it.
Like an NCAA game,
it was March Madness.
Absolutely. So that
he's
experimented on there because he did it before. He understands what it is. He trying to get his guys back into it. They did good. They was in the final, but unfortunately they lost to the Al Ahly team. And everybody would have thought, this would be a chance for a Western country to win and at least one from the Northern country. But it looked like the Northern countries are coming really strong.
Because like you mentioned, they're picking up guys like Nuthin. Nuthin is not an easy pickup. If Nuthin was on any team this year, he would have been an extreme addition for any of the teams.
Absolutely.
But earlier I had mentioned that it was Aliou Diarra was the only player. I misspoke. We have Jean-Jacques Bolsi that you were talking about as a guard. He's all ball first team, offense and defense as well. That's why the young man is getting some looks from the G League.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, people are watching. We saw the NBA deputy commissioner, Marks Tatum was there. We saw Masai was there. A lot of NBA potential recruiters were there. And we saw joint scouts. This is people that I've seen, but scout might be somewhere in the gym. Scouting out players from it. And it will be a lot of success coming from this league to the
I believe
NBA
Sarah Chan was in the building too. Toronto Raptors managing
Scouting talent.
Scouting as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So
They're looking. They got Pascal Siakam, something like that in college. You know?
Cheick, this Basketball Africa League, it'll resume next year, but the way it's set up, some of the players will go from Kigali to Asia to play in the FIBA World Cup. They'll have a few weeks off, but how important is this BAL tournament, the finals I'm talking about, to the World Cup in terms of their preparation?
We saw Nuthin mention it. He's gonna go get some rest, and he's gonna back it to working out with his team, and they're gonna go to the World Cup. And they're led by the coach Luo Deng. That will be their coach, and it's very good, Sandy, to stay in shape with this league. Because it doesn't stop. I think like some teams had to go back quickly because they had a elimination tournament out there for the next season.
Okay.
And I think Ivory Coast was one of them, and some other teams that have to go back and get ready for next season. So it's gonna be a continuity. Like it's gonna be NBA after NBA. There is NBA Summer League.
Right.
To keep this activity going on, so players don't get away from or carried away from something by something else. I think that part of our training is good, but it's good for the players who's gonna go to the World Cup because they're just coming off a competition. They're already used to it, and they can go there and repeat it and compete at the highest level, and because they are in shape.
Well, this competition, backed by the National Basketball Association, got to throw in a plug for the NBA Finals, Muqbil.
Yeah.
Who do you like, the Miami Heat or the Denver Nuggets?
Ooh, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I am a Laker guy, and to see what
Lakers
and to see what the Denver Nuggets did to my Lakers.
Yeah,
I didn't see that sweep coming.
They are a very
nobody's seen it coming.
I think everybody in Denver saw it coming because Denver, unfortunately for them, are not as televised. Throughout the country, they don't have a lot of nationally televised games, so we are not watching them unless you have League Pass, right? And unless you're really interested in the team, you don't see how great the team is.
Yeah.
For sure. If I'm to call it, Nuggets gentleman sweep in 5 at best.
Yeah.
At best.
I believe that same thing. Because Denver Nuggets have some loaded team and deserve to win this year.
Deepest team in the NBA?
Absolutely. Jovic, the Joker, and all
Jamal Murray.
And
they got
Ian
KCP.
Gordon. They have a lot of piece, Sonny, that they deserve to win because we remember the bubble when the COVID was there.
Yeah.
They was eliminated by Lakers.
Yeah. And for them to come back,
and Boston was eliminated by
Miami.
Miami was Boston beat Miami, so it's like a revenge.
Yeah.
A revenge kind of that season everybody's mentioning.
Right.
But I will go with Denver's because Denver's really is loaded to get this done this year.
Cheick, you're a big man. What about that big man for Denver, Jokic? How special a player is he?
Man, Jovic, let me tell you, this guy is more skills. This guy is fundamental, is another level. He got drafted 47.
Oh my God.
Second round.
Yeah,
second round.
Deep second round.
And how many time MVP? 2, 3?
2-time MVP. He could have had 3-time MVP.
Three-time MVP.
I think he's gonna get the Finals MVP.
His vision coordination of the court is all-time high.
Smart player.
Smart players. Is hand touch left and right. He's comfortable in every part of the court. You put him on the left and right. There's not many people that can like that.
Right.
People feel comfortable in the right hands of the court. And left hands of the court. It's not like that.
Right.
And he can make pass from anywhere.
You know what I love about Jokic the most, though? That his pace is a relatively slow pace, but you can't speed him up.
Absolutely.
That's an amazing thing because if you can play at your own pace, you're always going to see the game at your level, So
he's like a big guard. I call it a big point guard.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? He doesn't need to dunk the ball. He doesn't, but he changed the game and impact the game so many levels that is crazy to see a big man like this. It's hard to block him shot. When he go through, he's unblockable.
Oh, yeah.
He can just put it in there. He's 7 feet. I don't know how many wingspan.
He's shooting the ball from up here.
Absolutely. How are you going to block that? We saw with Anthony Davis, he made some shots. Anthony Davis was like, how did you make that?
Right.
That kind of thing. But they're loaded. I think they're loaded and they're going to take revenge this year.
I think the NBA probably wanted to see Lakers Celtics in terms of media markets.
Quite possibly. Unfortunately for them, the guys didn't show up, But I think it's still going to be exciting basketball. One thing that we should remember is that Miami should not be a team that we should dismiss because they are also a very deep team.
Absolutely.
They have what it takes to win the game. But, we can always talk hoops. There's entirely too much that we could talk about.
They said they might bring Aero back. Aero, the 3-point shooter, like for Miami. They say he might come back in game 3.
We will see it. But definitely it's been exciting. It's been exciting, a great time. Nothing but net with Muqbil, Yabarow,
Sonny Young.
Cheick Theiro.
It's been great. Have a good one.